Welcome to the Blockchain Council podcast. Today we have representatives from 𝗕𝗂𝗺𝗀. We're going to have a deep dive on this particular platform. And more so around, we're going to be discussing the play to earn model, what it is exactly, how people can benefit, what's the future, where is it headed. But first up, I'd like to introduce the panelists. So if you can just go around quickly. Rahul, quickly starting from you and then moving on to you, Aditya.
Thank you. Thank you, So, this is Rahul.
Sorry.
Sorry. Should I go? Can't hear you.
I said I got the name wrong. I misquoted Akshay as Aditya. I'm very sorry for that.
Okay.
There are like a lot of names flashing on my window.
And his name is not flashing. It's 𝗕𝗂𝗺𝗃𝗀.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. I'll restart. Okay. Guys, this is Rahul. I am one of the co-founders of 𝗕𝗂𝗺𝗃𝗀. Before this, I was with Star Sports North Star for about 6 years. Deep in sports, especially in the Indian ecosystem. I am an engineer by education and marketer by training. And I've spent a lot of my time in gaming, playing games, building a couple, and also very deep in the sports ecosystem with sports and Hotstar. So that's me.
Thanks, Rahul. Akshay, moving on to you.
Yeah, thanks, Rohan, and thanks, Rahul. So my name is Akshay Khandelwal. I'm one of the other founders of 𝗕𝗂𝗺𝗃𝗀. Prior to 𝗕𝗂𝗺, I was working with One Championship and One Esports. What there was looking after the D2C revenue stream. Prior to that, I was a consultant with McKinsey. Before that, in my previous life, I was with the energy servicing industry. Been a gamer since a long time, along with that, of course, sports is a passion. Don't play as good as Rahul does, but definitely a very avid casual fan. And yeah, I mean, the intersection of technology, sports, gaming fascinates me, not just now, but like since last few years. So yeah, I mean, great to be here and glad to be sharing a few more things about what we're building and where we're coming from.
Definitely, man. Staying on that tangent itself, it's very interesting for me to know the kind of journeys people, especially entrepreneurs, have when they are, launching a startup in Web3. So if I could have a little background, where does the idea come from? How you guys got here? Have you been, hodlers and then gradually you thought of getting it? I mean, that's been the kind of story that I've come across a lot thus far. So what's your take on it?
Yeah, so maybe I can go first, and then Rahul, yeah, I mean, feel free to jump in. But so 𝗕𝗂𝗺 is actually my third startup. I had done 2 other startups back in the day in education industry as well. How the idea of building in the space came about was because with my last job when I was One Championship. For those who don't know, this is Asia's largest sports media property. In MMA and esports and also in general entertainment category based out of Singapore. So over there, I was heading the corporate strategy first and then looking into the direct to consumer revenue stream, was observing the different business models that were emerging on the cross section of blockchain and sports. Let it be the NBA Top Shots or Sorare or Socios. And really, try to solve this problem for ourselves, in championship on, how do we really, get into this domain and monetize, right? So while doing so, one thing was very clear that, this is a, new leg of technology which is coming. This is very, very early days of building into the domain. And the space is, absolutely huge because these business models, for example, NBA Top Shot, In the first quarter of the inception itself, they scaled well, and they were loved by the fans, the followers, and they posted close to $1 billion in revenue in the first quarter itself, right? So revenue being just one of the indicators, but I think
just to play like the devil's advocate, that was in like a crazy bull market also.
So that's true. You
was,
are right.
Yeah, a little inflated. Yeah, but still,
Exactly.
I realized. I mean, it was everywhere, and fan engagement was to the max. And like you said, the direct-to-consumer model gets revitalized using blockchain.
Exactly, because if you think about it, right, the challenge that the sports industry, or actually many industries, where they are dealing with a loyal fan followership, is to manage this continuous engagement, right? And give you a very quick example. If you go to any sports properties page, right, let's say their Facebook page or Insta page, and you see that they get millions of these video views, but the moment you click on the comment section, you realize that all these different fans or this community is trying to speak with the IP owner, right? They're basically speaking with the property itself and not really interacting among each other, right? What it means is that the burden of engagement is always on the property, the IP owner. They always have to continuously keep on posting content out day in day out, right? The chewable, the snackable, the crunchable content, so that this community, or so-called community, well, really the followers can get engaged, right? Now, if there is a what I think blockchain as a technology has managed to do is with the in the very decentralized way, allow the fans to become part of that journey as well, and have a model, a viable model, made a viable model available, where now a trading is possible. Now these assets are changing in value, and they hold different type of value. There's an event, there is a strong correlation with the live event, and so on. So yeah, I think moving back to that part of the journey itself, I've been in the blockchain ecosystem for close to about 3 years now. Looking from outside in, first as an enthusiast, and then investing into here and there, and burn my hands in that process as well. But yeah, I mean, it looked like there was definitely a huge opportunity to build in this space, in this part of the world, right? Because a lot of this innovation was definitely happening in the West, as you would assume, right? So yeah, I mean, that was, I think, the starting point. We said that let's start from the sports that we know the best, and that's when I gave a call to Rahul. Known him, by the way, for 20 odd years now. We were together in our undergrad at IIT Madras. So he was my wingmate and hostel mate, and I remember him as the guy who's basically just kicking the ball, or holding the bat, and just swinging it around, whether it's an end semester exam or whatever that is. So because we were in the sports industry, because we were always very excited about this new technology trend that was coming in, and because there was this shared vision, we thought that, yeah, I mean, no good time is now to kind of jump it straight into it and start building. So
yeah, I mean, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's my part of the story. But yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
Rahul can speak.
Since you're there, actually, I was also in the sports industry, and one of the constant problems that we used to get. So I was in marketing and a bit into product management, and one of the constant problems was, the sports leagues happen or matches happen once in a while, maybe a few days a year. And what happens? What do you do after that, right? How do you engage the fans? And that was a problem I tried to try to solve for about 4 years, 5 years there. And when Akshay introduced me actually to these models, we saw that this opens up a whole new opportunity which did not exist earlier. And I know cricket. I mean, I've been an under 19 player, a cricket player in junior levels. I've represented all my colleges, and I was very deep in cricket. And that's where it clicked, right? Because new field, new and exciting. Technology is another one, because I am an engineer by trade. I did 5 or 6 years of coding and development. So I understand the tech. I love gaming, and I love sports. So I think that just ticked off all the boxes for me. So this is ripe for disruption, and if not us, then who, right?
And what kind of gaming are you generally a lot into? First person shooters, strategy?
First person shooters. Briefly, I was a huge fan of CS, Counter-Strike, and I played until about 2 years back. CS:GO, Live, all those things, but more of a strategy gamer myself. I've played. I think Age of Empires kind of is my drug. I love it, and I still
Were you
play.
ever a StarCraft player and a Warcraft player?
I've dabbled briefly into that, but mostly, so my top 4 or 5 would be, which has taken 90% of my gaming time, are Age of Empires, CS, FIFA. FIFA is
Gotcha.
like I've played
Actually,
it since 2004.
StarCraft was where it actually made me very interested in trading, because I saw some online matches of Alpha Star playing against some of the best players, and it was so crazy that just the first 2 to 3 minutes of the game, how Alpha Star utilized resources. It used to kill its opponents right there, just in the first 2 minutes itself. Like generally the best players in the world, they would have like 5 people mining for gold, 2 people mining for gas. Alpha Star would go 6 to gold and 1 to gas, and they'll do this for the first 2 minutes, and bang, the resources. I mean, you can't overtake the AI on resources alone, unless you have a stroke of luck or something else. Alpha Star is definitely going to beat that game. So when I got into automated trading, AI and machine learning was something that really pulled me in, just because of that one YouTube video that I saw. Wow. So it's been quite interesting. Yeah. So getting a little deeper and moving ahead, what exactly is play to earn? If you could explain that.
So I'll take a crack at it, and then share you and jump in. So a play to earn is actually there are multiple models actually here. Play to earn, and nowadays people are talking about play and earn. They kind of go hand in hand. So it started with play to earn because the incentive alignment of the players was happening via the game economy, right? So for example, if you want to incentivize the players to keep coming back, in the earlier Web2 ecosystem, what was happening is the players were playing, investing into the game, and then they were not able to take anything out of it, right? And what play to earn did was allowed these players to also, whatever they've spent, the time, the effort, the money, that something tangible can be taken out of the game. And that's where the whole system of play to earn kind of I think took root. And there were a couple of very big examples of play to earn becoming a source of income for some people, and that's where it really took off. But to me, it's not really a new concept. It's even, for example, to some extent, poker is also play to earn, although earning is it's pay to earn rather than play to earn, pay and play to earn. But the concept is not new, but it has been democratized, and it has been made it into a better concept or better execution when it comes to Web3 games.
For sure. One thing I definitely feel is play to earn has scared the banking industry a lot, because all of a sudden you've got these kids, and before they can become of age to, get a bank account, they are sitting on a substantial amount of digital assets. I mean, for their age, when I was 13, 14, holding digital assets is something which was probably not possible at all. But heading into the next 10,
the concept of
years,
digital asset probably didn't exist. I don't know. At least the only asset I had was the pocket money I got from my parents. So
No, but
yeah.
Rohan, I think you're right there. So I'm based here in Singapore, right? And I generally try to attend these meetups, right? So one of the meetups that I been to for last couple of times at least, is a NFT meetup. And the first time I reached there, I kid you not, it was basically school kids, and you can't imagine what kind of energy was there in that room. People are just flaunting about the different game assets that they own, and what they have traded, and they're showing their OpenSea profile, and I've got this and that, and literally, like, these are you can see, right, that, like, if only there was a legal age or some sort of a, right, but I think the newer generation is just catching up with this concept so fast. It's kind of like similar to we didn't know back in the day that there used to be the floppy disk and stuff. I mean, some of us would remember, but we already came into an era of, let's say, a CD, right, and then a pen drive, right, and then now the desktop is kind of like the outdated concept, right? So the generation, they know digital assets as a default, right? And you're
for
right.
sure, yeah. Generation Alpha is like digital native.
Exactly, and very soon, possible that the banking giants might have a existential crisis, because the ownership, the transactions, the economies are run through this ecosystem, which sits kind of outside the whole the institutional systems that we have in place. So at least for now. So yeah, I mean, but coming back to, I guess, play to earn, I think Rahul summarized it very well. But this is about asset ownership, right? And being able to play a game, and you invest your time into a game, and for that you win certain
Rewarded.
assets. You get rewarded through the assets, which then creates further value in the economy, right? So CryptoKitty being an example, a classic one. And of course, Axie Infinity, and everything that happened after that was more about, I mean, you have a an entry point into the system, into the game, and then once you spend time and once you play the game, you start earning these assets, or get rewarded through the assets, which then in turn can be either directly monetized or used for further advantage to play in the game and win more, right? And what we have seen is again, quite there were reports like people in Vietnam and Philippines, they're playing Axie Infinity, and it all happened during the COVID as well, right? Where the average monthly income used to be $300, and people were making close to $450 just by playing Axie Infinity. So that kind of socio-economic revolution, which was triggered by the play to earn games, right, which allowed people to sit at the comfort of their home, and many of them might not even have a an alternative, right, because the jobs were a lot of jobs were unfortunately eliminating, or a lot of layoffs were happening. So people found this newer way to engage and earn, and this became very, very popular, right? So for the emerging countries like Southeast Asia, even India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, I mean, some of these adjacent countries, of course, I mean, this model makes a lot of sense, and allows people to engage with the games in a whole different way.
Definitely. And the other thing also I like to point out is that a lot of these games had a very low barrier to entry, unlike that Rummy thing might have. And when you get into like these bull run timing scenarios, then it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, where more and more people keep entering the system, liquidity goes up, and everything just adds on to each other.
Correct. And on top of it, then the guilds came in, which basically started doing it professionally, managing it professionally, that, hey, your entry fee in a game is $300, not to worry about it. I'll pay it upfront, you play, and then we recover through your performance and the time that you're spending, right? So I mean, this ecosystem has evolved at a very fast pace, and wherever there were pain points, at least to enter the new players onto the platforms, were solved very quickly through this models.
So again, guys, moving on, what exactly, I mean, I was going through bold.io and I wanted to focus on this. So what exactly is a social gaming platform? I mean, what layer have you added on top of Play to Earn to get to this level?
Yeah, so first of all, unlike what we have seen so far, where there is one game, and then a user would come to play that particular game. What we are doing is we are building multiple games, right? So the vision is kind of like building the Netflix for blockchain gaming. So there would be this one platform where multiple games are sitting. These could be hyper casual, strategy. These could be the games that we are building ourselves in house, which are kind of like the flagship games or originals. We have now a network of partner studios. So there are 5 other games in the pipeline, which we are building with the partner studios as well. So the idea is you have a platform and you have multiple games, and these are all powered by the same economy, right? The same reward system. What it means is that you can play let's say a very hyper casual game that takes less than a minute or less than 90 seconds to complete. You can earn certain rewards, and you can actually use those rewards into another game which gives you higher returns, right? Or you use your skill there, right, to basically earn at a faster rate. So the whole platform is powered by dual tokens, and I mean, one is the governance token, one is the utility token, but essentially the utility token is the one which binds all these different games together, right? So that's number one. Number two is that how we're building the social element around it is again very much inspired by what we have seen so far. If you look at the the whole gaming landscape as well, you have let's say Discord, and then you have the Twitch, and then you have the game itself, right? All the conversations are sitting on Discord, and all the the content consumption is happening on Twitch, and then the game is the platform ultimately where people are playing, right?
That's the source where all the content is being generated from.
Exactly. That's kind of like the source code, if you like, right? The way we are trying to again build it is we're building certain social features which allows users to engage with each other within the platform itself, and in turn they actually get rewarded, right? What I mean by that is one of the use cases that we are deploying early in the day is that there is a followership feature, right? So let's say if I realize that Rahul is an expert gamer, right? He gets cricket, and he's really good at this, the strategy game 𝗕𝗂𝗏. I can simply follow him, right? And the next time whenever Rahul is playing, I get a notification, and I can stake on his performance, right? I can say that, listen, I support Rahul because I've seen the data. All these transactions are in front of me that 80% of the time this guy is winning, right? So the next time when he wins, I win something as well, right? And the chances of him winning, right, the rewards that he will get would be also higher if he has higher number of followers, right? So you are incentivizing it both ways, right? You're incentivizing an expert gamer to gather more followers because that increases his rewards and probability of winning, but you're also incentivizing the long tail of followers to basically find discover the expert players, right? Kind of takes it a little bit more into the creator economy side as well, where now the esports players, not only do they I mean, right now how a esport player, I mean, if he's really good, can monetize it, he can generate content or sponsorships, and really basically it's sponsorship, right? Even if you
basically individual players have they can have a lot of credibility.
Exactly. And the very, again, I think the most important part here is getting that social validation. Like if you go a layer deeper, right, the economy and monetization is one thing, but what we are missing right now is a social validation, a social gratification piece, right? So if Rahul is sitting in, let's say well so he's coming from a tier 3 city actually in UP. He's an expert gamer. He remembers all the cricket stats. It's on his fingertips. He shows up, to see his favorite heroes, and reads every article that's coming on, let's say, a Cricinfo or CricBuzz, right? Nobody cares about it, really. He doesn't get any sort of respect in the society. If anything, there are people who say that, bro, like, don't, why are you just only talking about cricket all the time, right?
There's no application for that knowledge.
There's no application
Absolutely.
for that passion, right? Now you create this model where now people can bring in their knowledge, their passion, and they can showcase it in a quantifiable way, and they can get, not only the economic rewards but also the social benefits. I think that is something that we are looking to create.
Another thing I want to add, just an addendum, because we've seen recently that play to earn as a concept has its limitations, right? Because if you become a platform which is only incentivizing the earn part, or focusing on the earn part, it takes away something from the fun part as well, because there's money involved, and there are some actors, bots, all of these guys who would probably try to maximize their economic rewards from the platform, right? So I think it's also important to add other layers to the platform if you're building games these days. I mean, it's play to earn has had its day, I believe, and there are needs for adding layers to it now. And social is a very important layer, because we've seen social, we don't have platforms that are catering to that social need, for example. But that already there are some ecosystems which are already, games are very community driven phenomenon. So there are already communities developed outside, either on Discord or Twitter or wherever, right? And it's just a matter of putting all of them together and incentivizing everyone who's contributing to the ecosystem. So even the fans who are, who believe in you and who are, following you, they should also get incentivized. Why not, right? So that's the vision.
Definitely, man. So is play to earn and skill-based games the same thing? Are they complementing each other? Is there like a loophole between the two?
Yeah, I think this is a good one. So to be honest, I mean, it's rather debatable in different countries how the skill-based game is defined, right?
Because normally, sorry to cut you, but because normally a lot of these platforms use skill-based to go around the gambling regulatory loopholes. So
correct.
Is play to earn flirting with the same line?
Well, it really depends again on the gameplay, right? If there is, somehow a user is, able to, or a gamer is able to deploy their knowledge, and they get better at it, with time, then broadly speaking, it's a skill-based game, right? Like you build a skill, right? It's kind of like chess. You play chess, like first time, second time, first 5 times you won't get it, but then you start getting it, right? Versus, of course, yeah. So I won't say that there is these are two kind of mutually exclusive things, right? Play to earn is more of a economic model, versus skill-based game is a type of game, right? There could be a skill-based game, there could be a luck-based game or chance-based game, right? Which is basically, let's say, betting or gambling, right? So these are two separate categories, I would say, but yeah, you are, I think, right. There is a lot of there is a very strong overlap between the two, especially in the games that we see more and more coming out, right, where the games are branded as skill based, whereas all you're doing is let's say commenting whether tomorrow it's going to rain or not. Now you can explain that, hey, you can go to a weather website, or try to see the real life
weather or something.
yeah, AccuWeather, or like some satellite data, and then you make that prediction. But we know, end of the day, like nobody's doing that, right? Like people are simply yes or no, and bet some tokens, right? So,
and even then it's all guesswork. I mean, there's no guarantee.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's not
it's
like,
all
yeah. So yeah. Sorry, go ahead,
So
Rahul.
the thing with the skill based game is that there's a problem. Skill based game kind of hit a ceiling when it comes to growth, because the more players are onto the platform, the better they become, and the losers kind of lose and move out of the system. So it kind of becomes very skewed in terms of in favor of the skilled people and those who have acquired some skill over time. So I think it hits a wall when it comes to growth. Whereas when you have a bit of chance, luck, it kind of everyone has a chance, right? So everyone believes that they can win, and as long as that is the case, you'll have growth. You'll have more and more people coming into the platform. So there is a reason for these chance based games banding themselves about as skill based, of course, but it's a very difficult task to create a skill based game which is also going to keep on attracting people and keep on being interesting.
So, Rahul, this one's for you. This is not a question that I have on my list, but is anyone working on a model where people can earn through FPS games? Because that's where my true skills lie. I would give up my job and do that immediately if there is a game like that out there.
So there are a few which I have researched. They are in the pipeline, actually, not really FPS in the true sense. I mean, you won't get a Fortnite tomorrow.
For sure.
There are some which are in the making, and I think the easiest model for Web3 adoption into gaming is this tradability and ownership of assets. And that's where you'll get some FPS games. I'm sure I don't know the names as of now, but even in Fortnite, for example, you're getting these options to trade your assets that or some gun, for example, or some cool costume that you've bought. You can trade it with the other players, and that kind of becomes play to earn, because you get something and then you sell it off and take money out of it. But these are definitely the easiest and most understandable use cases that are coming up in Web3. And as we evolve, we'll see these ownership and tradability aspects built across the games. I think the days of Web2 game as you know it, I mean, of course, it's there, but I think it's limited.
Yeah, it'll take time, but it'll definitely go. I remember last year, Dogecoin had spiked one day because somebody manufactured fake news saying that, you're going to be able to buy in-game products on the next GTA with Dogecoin. And I remember there was a brief spike for an hour or two because our cryptocurrency went nuts and all these other forums went nuts over it.
Oh,
but that was pretty interesting.
But that's coming. I mean, it's real.
I can believe it. I can totally believe it.
There are certain games. Of course, we have the tech challenges as of now because it's a new technology. People are still grappling with tech challenges, but we'll soon figure it out, and we'll have these FPS games, racing games. Racing games are already there, actually. If you Google,
just like Ready Player One,
yeah.
So, where are you guys right now on your roadmap?
So we, like Akshay said, we are a platform play. So we are coming up with a platform which has a bunch of games powered by the same economy. So in the next month or so, we are going to be launching 3 or 4 games, which will be in beta. So currently they are in alpha testing phase, and we'll have a bunch of games by the end of next month, and in 3 months pipeline is actually to have 8 or 10 games, from hyper casual to casual to like a little bit strategic levels. But all of those gameplays are very short gameplays, like 3 to 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minute kind of thing, right? And they are all going to be powered with the same economy. So that's where we are right now.
I think I just got a pretty interesting question. Just a sec. Will the beta players would have any exclusive assets?
On board?
Yeah.
So there is definite incentive to join early. So the beta players will get incentives easily and won't have free assets over there. So we have a free to play and the asset part where you can buy assets. So it's a freemium model. You can basically, once you start early, if you start early, for example, you start getting rewards much easily, and those can be converted into the NFTs or assets, which are going to be valuable in the future. Currently, they might be at some point which is it's a matter of getting the network effect, and once the network effect is here, I mean, of course, the prices
Definitely.
and all skyrocket. So
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah.
Self-fulfilling. Yeah, yeah. But there is definite incentive to join in early as a beta.
So just to give you a little bit more details here, right? The first two games that we have been building is 𝗕𝗂𝗏, which is a strategy game, and then there is a NPL, a NFT Premier League. This game that we literally, like a game studio that we literally just acquired last week.
Oh, wow.
Team of like rock stars, super talented, game designers, game developers that we have absorbed. So alpha testing of these two games is already going on. If you go to our Discord channel, you can see there is a alpha testers group where we gather all this feedback, and of course we incentivize people to give us that feedback and continue kind of playing the game. I mean, to be honest, the first version of the product would be as you can imagine not so engaging, but we were testing the core gameplay and we received a lot of feedback from there. And we value these community members, right? So they're definitely getting early rewards. There is a prize pool when we do our airdrop campaign. They'll be definitely in the whitelist and preferred. That's number one. Number two, as Rahul has mentioned, the earlier you come into the system, initially we'll be giving away rewards with a very high probability of the more valuable assets. You own those assets, you have a continuous advantage within the game, right? So it's easier to get access to those assets once you enter early, rather than let's say if you enter 3 months or 6 months later.
I just want to add something there. This is for the viewers. A lot of people sort of see there's a very thin line between a pyramid scheme and being rewarded for early adoption. And I think because of the bull market and the amount of scams that have been going on, this is the concept a lot of people have difficulty in wrapping their head around. I mean, obviously, if you were there in the early years of development where you helped these people out, you provided them with the right set of data, right set of insights, of course, you're going to be rewarded for it. And you're going to be rewarded for it big in case it goes big. So that's your incentive. That's your incentive to engage upfront, engage early.
Yeah, I mean, there is definite incentive to engage upfront, but we are actively, building our economy in such a way that we keep away these opportunists who are only in it for, they get the airdrop, price goes up and they dump. So we are trying. I mean, it's an industry-wide problem, and everyone is trying to solve it. But we are not. That's the reason I didn't say that there'll be huge airdrops and all those things. So I mean, you'll have to contribute to the platform to get rewarded. That's as simple as that.
For sure, definitely. And I mean, it's got to be like that. I don't see in the long run any other way to go around it.
Yeah, absolutely, you're right.
So just to take a step back, what exactly is bold.io?
Yeah.
If you want to go.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So bold.io, as we discussed, so first of all, we've taken a few pivots on the journey as well, right? So I can give a longer version as well, but the shorter version is, it's going to be this social gaming platform where anyone and everyone can come in, with or without having the knowledge of Web3 or having an access of a third-party wallet. They can simply just come in and start engaging, start playing.
It's like using Gmail. You need not know how servers work.
Exactly. You log in with your Gmail. There's a custodial wallet that we create for you. The key is super secure. It's not with us. Part of it is in the cloud, part of it is in the device, and so on, right? And your journey starts from there, right? So really building it for the mass adoption, where the masses in, let's say, countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and even Southeast Asia as well, right? Because if you think about the penetration of the technology, it's not, there yet, right? Like, how do we onboard the next billion, users on Web3?
Yeah, that's the buzzword that's going around now.
Right. So, I mean, it is a buzzword, and of course, everyone is trying to take a crack at it, how to solve, right? But yeah, I mean, if you create a platform where upfront you ask user to connect their wallet, you're bouncing off, let's say 99.5% of the users, because let's be honest, right? Onboarding on Web3 still is a little bit of an inconvenience, right?
It's a
Like,
challenge. It's a
it's
challenge.
a challenge, right? Like, the first time you do it, you have to, be guided by someone, right? Like, and I have helped so many people where, I'm telling them that, listen, now you have to do this and write down this 12-word key and, put it somewhere and this and that, right?
I
Because
think everyone who's attending this podcast right now can pretty much resonate what you're saying about helping people, onboarding your friends, your family, maybe connecting a few businesses together.
Exactly, right. So yeah, I mean, focusing on, Bold, the idea is, the vision is to build the platform in a way that we solve the on the ramp, problem, right? Build it for the mass adoption. That's number one. Number two is, build it in a way that it's actually fun platform, rather than, just a place where, I do some clicks and then I earn some tokens, and the moment I earn them, I just dump them on a DEX, right? Actually create those, engaging loops, engaging gameplays where user do want to, participate more, engage more, recommend more, right? So that's the, number two, and that's where the whole social, aspect comes in as well, right? There are different burning mechanisms within the gameplay, which allows the user to, unlock certain features, let it be on the social side or their performance side, and move faster, on the tracks, right? So really, if you think about it, it's a social gaming platform that has been built for mass adoption, where we are very carefully solving the on the ramp and off the ramp problem that we see right now in the industry. A little bit of a longer version to that is, we started off from, a place where we said that, listen, let's focus on tokens. There are all these different, teams in the cricketing world. There are different, leagues. Why not we tokenize them and, allow people to kind of, trade those tokens, right? It was already, of course, a very successful model in the West, with different leagues, different sports. But one thing that we completely ignored, when we were starting was, about the user adoption and their knowledge, right? Yes, you can do these tokens, but like, people won't be able to buy it unless they know, how to onboard, and like, unless they know, right? And second thing is, people like simple things, right? It has to be simplified. Otherwise, nobody has time or patience to, kind of experiment with a new platform, right? So how do you build it in a way that it's a very, simple, but B, it's super engaging as well, right? Doesn't change my routine, right? I spend 3 minutes a day, playing, let's say, Subway Surfer, or, whatever game that is, just continue doing that, right? And my experience is not hampered, but at the same time, there is this layer of, social and economic rewards that I've started receiving as well, right? So that's what then we started kind of like, kind of solve for. And as we now say, like, it's a Netflix for blockchain gaming that we want to build, where it's a platform play, multiple titles, multiple, different games sit on it. These games, some of them would be, built and operated by ourselves internally. And that's in line with that vision. We just acquired, the gaming studio called NPL. There would be also the games which our partner studios are building for us, either on a commission, either we're commissioning them, or there could be existing titles that we can license from them, and then, just change.
I mean, if the platform grows, then obviously you'll have a lot of people wanting to publish other things on.
Exactly. And our approach is very simple. Again, we want to create an ecosystem here. We don't want to, do it by all by ourselves and, claim the victory. Like, this is all about, building a community and bringing as many people on board on this journey, to Web3 as possible. And one thing we realized was, the indie studios are, exactly the right type of, smaller communities or businesses who should onboard on Web3. Only issue is that they don't know where to start from, right? They're really good, Unreal or, Unity developers, or, classic game designers. They've been doing this for last 15 years, but they don't know that what is this Web3 and, how do we really go about it, right? If we build that platform, right, we say that, listen, your gameplay, your game building expertise, and our economy, right, our reward system, right, our platform, then that kind of, you bring it together, and you don't just do it one studio. You build this network of partner studios, and you start doing it at scale, right? Just imagine the kind of adoption that could be there. And then again, I mean, do it in a way that allows them to build their own titles as well. So tomorrow, if let's say a studio wants to take a crack at their own FPS game on Web3, and they want to do it independently and publish it independently, they should be able to, right? So because they have this experience
with ownership.
Exactly, right? So they can, of course, and the ecosystem wins, right? Everyone wins, right? The more adoption there is, and the more people who are building, quality people with capabilities building in the space, it's good for everyone. So that's I think the kind of long-term vision that we have. And yeah, I mean, here is the kind of starting point.
Rahul, you want to add something to this?
I think Akshay kind of summarized it. So we are going for a platform play, and no, don't just think about it as Netflix, because Netflix acquires IPs and builds their own IP. But you can think of it as, let's say, Apple Play Store or a Google App Store, as
multiple
for
publishers.
Web3 game, because we'll also open it up for indie publishers. And let's say our incentive model, instead of taking 30% of the fee or whatever that the Google Play and Apple Play charges, we can take a cut into the secondary NFT sales, for example, secondary to asset sales, and all of it is kind of built into the same economy, and you have, so in the industry you have all these different stakeholders coming in and participating. So we could in fact have, let's say, esports coming in, team sponsors, all these artists and all. They're also participating in the system. Whoever is coming into the system and adding value gets incentivized. So
for sure. Is there a DAO aspect also? Do people have any partaking in the governance aspect of the platform?
Yeah, so it has been planned, right? So the governance token that we have, basically one of the utility it has is, it allows to manage the governance better. Right now, how exactly we do it, and I mean, DAO is, I think, something that everyone is trying to figure it out yet, right? Like nobody has aced it. That, listen, we are a DAO, and you keep hearing the stories like YGG versus merit circles, and what a giving rights of governance to a community can do. So there is, to be honest, not 100% clarity on that, but definitely in terms of directionally, we definitely want to move there.
Definitely, it's a hit and try, man. Some people get it right, but it's definitely, there are lots of ways to go around it right now. So correct. Yeah, I'm sure you guys need to come up with something that works for you.
Absolutely. I think there are challenges in the DAO system, because we have because building games essentially, and building economies, building games is not is part art and part science, right? And you need experts to kind of take decisions. So can it really be decentralized? Maybe some aspects can be, but not some others. So those are open questions for us. There is definitely a vision to get there, but we'll see.
For sure. So what blockchain is this token going to be on? Bold token?
It's on Polygon.
It's on Polygon. Nice. That's obvious choice for a lot of companies, right?
Yeah.
And why cricket? I know a bunch of you have already spoken to this effect, but I want to get it crystal clear. Why is this coming up first only with cricket?
I think cricket, for me, there are three major reasons. One is, in India, if you want mass adoption of anything, you have to go either cricket or Bollywood. I guess you are a better expert in the Bollywood side, but cricket is definitely a place where you see a lot of, what Akshay talked about earlier. A person sitting in my hometown, for example, has a lot of that social currency that they are not able to, do anything about. So we thought that, and unlocking that with the help of games, with the help of play to earn and play and earn, uh, would be easier than tackling it with any other way. Second thing was because uh, we have, we have certain examples where we started off, like Akshay again said. We had examples in the West where, these popular sports like, football already had a very successful model that they had built around that sport, and there was nothing of that sort in the Indian context, and we saw that as a huge, open opportunity or gap that we could fill. And third was because we love cricket, and I have been in the ecosystem in the sports industry. I've worked with the grassroots level, you know, teams, clubs, fans, and Akshay has been, I think, a lifelong cricket fan, as well as, person who understands the sport business. So I think that was, for me, those were the reasons why cricket was an obvious choice.
For sure. Akshay, you want to add on to that?
No, I think, Rahul has nailed it, right? I think the reason number one is to be honest, the biggest reason, right? Like we want to solve for the mass adoption. And what vehicle do you use for that, right? You can definitely launch some of the business models, and, we can try to scale, and there is a, factor of, then awareness and, education and so on, versus like cricket, we breathe, we live, breathe, and, die over cricket, right? Like it's a religion, right? So I think that was, an obvious starting point. We were in Rahul. He's been modest, when he talks about his experience, but like with him, we had these, massive, ecosystem connects, which in the market research phase itself, we were able to, connect with, and, get a lot of brainstorming done, and understand, identify, what are the pain points, for the, let's say, league operators or IP holders, or, even in the fan communities. That came really handy to understand that, let's say, why a simple marketplace model, may not work in a context of India, right? Like if you want to simply just do a NBA Top Shot, where you have, this bunch of IP, and you want to slice and dice it and sell it, there might be, issues with adoption, because, to be honest, like explaining people what is a digital asset, and why should I pay for a JPEG or a video clip, is not exactly very intuitive. And I'm sure
fans get it. The super fans get it. That's why it's worked.
The super fans get it, but there is an element of affordability as well, right? Yes, they get it, but is it affordable to them or not, right? And if it is not, then is it worth, like, what kind of time you're looking at then, right? So those
it's indulgence, yeah.
Exactly. So those are on the business side. I mean, that's what, of course, I was looking into and thinking about when we decided like what business model. But yeah, I mean, and cricket again is the starting point, right? Given the partnerships that we have built, and, the kind of intellectual horsepower that we have, right now in the team, and, the pipeline as well of the games, maybe focusing on cricket, but there's a very good possibility that will expand in the future. Will go into other genres, and might be even other sports as well.
Definitely. So I want to focus a little bit on the technical side of the project as well. So real world, if you actually end up making the game and we have an MVP, real world cricket performance and stats is going to affect the results of the games. Is that where we're heading towards?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So that data, how are you fetching that data into your system? Are you using any Oracle chains for this particular thing? Because it's obviously an external data source that you must be connected to for this.
Correct. So we basically, I mean, we have licensed this data in form of an API, and we have built a data science model, which basically, and it's by the way not on chain. This particular part is still kind of your old classic Web 2 integration,
Okay.
which then kind of informs the assets on how particular performance have been, and how they should, like for a particular matchup, what should be the result of that particular matchup.
For sure. So this would also create a huge buzz with the social aspect of it, because it's all about what's going on right now. If India is playing England, then certain types of games have more traffic on the website. Is that something that holds true?
Yeah, absolutely. So if I give a little bit of view there, like what we've done is we want to, again, focusing on the user, right? This fan of the sport, who's crazy about the games, and he's watched a last night game, let's say, right, where just making it up, let's say West Indies and India, and did someone score a century? Well, not really, right? Like, but yeah, I mean, India ended up winning big time, right? So 𝗕𝗫𝗃𝗃, he smashed it out the park in 19 balls, 45 runs, and so on, right? So if I have watched that game and I'm coming on bold.io platform to play this Crick5 game, which is a strategy game, right? I use this knowledge that I gained last night. I will have a certain advantage, right?
Okay.
Why that's happening is because this real-time data is being ingested in the data lake, and that's the we give more weightage to the more recent performances as well, right? So if you in that, if you want to, let's say, reproduce that scenario in the game where, let's say, players of West Indies are playing with players of India on a certain ground, and you use these certain boosters. Let's say you give finish off, or let's say aggression to 𝗕𝗂, then he's going to basically kind of replicate that performance, right? So if I'm playing with, let's say, against Rahul hasn't watched that game, and he's just playing based on his overall knowledge, but I have that particular knowledge from the last night, I will have an advantage in the game, right? So that's basically how we have built it, and for that reason, the API integration, like, we have kept it on Web 2, because this is real-time integration as well. And to be honest, nobody is so exactly as you said, like you're looking at either having Oracle, of a chain, or like basically some way to patch it up, because the data stream is coming in
a trustless manner. Yeah.
Trustless manner. Yeah. So that's, yeah, I mean, that's what it is. But I think moving forward, there could be a very interesting use case of that as well, where you, yeah, I mean, maybe build a model where you incentivize the users, the followers, to enter the scores or record the scores, right? And then you have so many entries, then that's basically that's the score, right? And then the contributors are kind of rewarded for that as well. And now you already have this database building on chain rather than off the chain. And of course, you can run the the audits on top of it to say that whether it's right or wrong. And so I think, yeah, I mean, taking it in the more DAO direction, I think something like that can be done. But right now, we're really keeping it simple.
And I mean, the way cricket is also, there's so much stats to it. There's so much numbers to it. Every single ball, every single ball from one particular end has a different story behind it. So, I mean, it's pretty crazy. So sometimes I would, actually watch the match and have Bet365 open, and it'll be very interesting to see the way Bet365 fluctuates with the real world game. That's exactly. Always been something really interesting to watch.
Yeah, how the odds are changing, and what are they taking into account. So yeah, I mean, this is really fascinating, right? So there are, and it has gone to a sophisticated level now, right? There are more than 160 data points being captured for each ball thrown these days. 160. So imagine the kind of data that you can capture, number of data points you can capture in a simple T20 game.
I mean, who has the rights over to this data? ICC has it, or like, do the players have any access to it?
No, this is public data. This is public
That's
data,
all public.
but someone will have to capture it, right? Someone will have to capture it, and there are folks who are licensed to capture it, and then it's available. So what you see on all the even Bet365, right? They're basically getting the data from some source, and then they're built this model on top of it, which is then playing the odds, right?
Right.
But yeah, I mean the data is it can be licensed.
I think Bet365 stays like 2 or 3 balls behind the line, whatever's happening live.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so there are well, I think I mean if you're into it, I think there are a couple of hacks. I mean there are websites which give you advantage of a second or two, and then
that's all it takes. That's all it takes.
Exactly. You go there, and then so yeah. I mean, I'm sure more than a few people already do that. So.
In fact, that's my next question also. When does the play to earn model get dangerous? And can players lose heavy amounts of liquidity?
Yeah, I think when does it get dangerous? Yeah, that's an interesting question. It can get dangerous in few different ways, actually. One or two ways I can think of is, number one, of course, you have this false belief that you're skilled in this game, and then it's completely based on some random events, and you lose, right? So that's probably number one. And number two is the old classic, the security threat, right? You have the huge amounts in your wallet, and even what happened with 𝗕𝗂𝗀𝗏, and like we keep hearing about it, right? The security breaches and stuff. So I think there are both these parts. On the part number one, which is more about user, I think the education and the awareness, like that is very important part, right? We need to continue educating the user on A, the winning strategies, but B, also mentioning some of these risks, right? The way we have done it is at least in this version, right? It's not a open it's not an open market. It's kind of like poker tables, so you already have a table which is let's say 100 tokens and 500 tokens, and right, so that way and
it's
then,
like a betting limit or something, or a
exactly
limit
like that. Yeah, so so that's there, which kind of already limits your exposure. You can't go, let's say 2 million tokens, because there is just no table available to for you to do that, right? So I think those are definitely some checks and balances, but the I think the bigger threat though is the security threat, and yeah, I mean for that, I mean we've been working with, actually, I mean some of the world's leading experts in Web3 security to I mean, a couple of them are actually our investors as well. So, who are guiding us on, the sophistications of, these approaches, and the way we build the wallet system as well, which is, custodial yet, like, so.
And yeah, before you move on further with this, I'd like to tell my audience that when it comes to security, you can't take any chances in Web3, because once your platform is hacked, they've got issues. No one's going to, flock towards your platform. No one's going to put in the liquidity there. So security is your paramount concern when working on these projects.
Absolutely.
Please, Akshay, take it forward.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, those are some of the things that are being, kind of thought through and built through, right? And yeah, I mean, precisely for the reason you mentioned, and I think one of the more important reason is that it's your user base, assets, right? Their money that is involved, right? And if there is a leakage in the system, right? So it took actually I think 3 days to realize that there was a hack.
It was gone.
Well, I mean, really unfortunate, right? Really, really unfortunate. But you don't want that happening, because then it's a liability, right? There's a user base who's trusted you, and you basically lost it, right? So I think they did a great job, of course, in raising again and reimbursing the money, and then even the in some cases I think even the hackers have returned the money as well. So
also I just want to add to this particular Axie point that whenever something gets hacked, that news spreads like wildfire. Before you know it, it's been posted 20 times on Reddit. It's all over the place. But what people need to understand is that this is the blockchain world. So if you get hacked and the funds have moved, at any point in time, there would be at least hundreds, if not thousands, of bots tracking those particular funds. If they move, people are going to know that they move. And a lot of these times when these platforms get hacked, those funds don't move for years. I mean, the BitConnect hack, those funds were still lying stable because it's impossible to launder that kind of money.
Exactly. That's tagged as dirty Bitcoin. That's dirty Bitcoin.
Definitely. So getting it back is a possibility in Web3 hacks, but in Web2, when the money goes, it goes. There's no chance for you to recover it or trace it.
Correct. I remember one of the cases where this exchange got hacked, and it was a big hack. I think it was close to $300 million, if I'm not wrong. And the founder, they came out and they made a request to the hackers that, listen, this is not our money, right? Like, this is the community, and please return it. And guess what? They returned 80% of the money. Precisely because I think it was about highlighting that there is a security breach, and like they need to work on it. But B, I mean, nobody wants to hurt the community as such, like, with the good intentions, at least, right? The people who want to build in the space.
I mean, I honestly like to think hackers are so learned, they really know their stuff. And it's a little hard to be malicious when you're so knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Exactly. You have to be on the top of your blockchain game, which means that you already believe in the technology, the decentralized future, and you're a builder yourself, most likely, right? So, yeah, but anyways, I mean, yeah, so that's the point of view.
For sure. So hacking the platform, technical point of view is one thing with coding and all. But what about hacking the gameplay? If somebody were to, because Python, I mean, because you guys are on Polygon, and it's, transaction costs are very cheap, and there's a particular social element. So you could have an ingenious Indian guy sitting somewhere at IIT pass out who'd write a Python script to, have 20 bots play each other and portray one as the winner, and propel him on top of the leaderboards and stuff like that. So is that something that you guys have planned for, or since if you could speak?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, I mean, you'll always get these malicious actors who'll try to maximize. So the way we are building the economy is keeping that in mind. I'm not saying we have already thought of the solutions, but we're keeping that in mind. And for example, we're limiting first of all the risks and exposures. On the other hand, also building it an AI solution at the back end, so that these kind of fraudulent activities can be at least taken into consideration when they happen, and probably tackled. So so there is thought in that direction, but not really a solution as of now.
For sure, man. And in the games that you guys are designing, do players own the teams that they come up with? Because some people can come up with some really interesting combinations and permutations from.
So there are two different personas actually, or there are actually more than two. But the most important ones are owners who own the assets, and then there are players who can rent or lease the assets to play. Right. So you don't really need to be an owner of a team or a player or a stadium to actually start playing. And you can use these, like you said, various combination of players as a team. You can form any kind of team and play. And on the other hand, if you're an owner, you don't really need to play to earn. If you own the assets, a lot of commissions and incentives will automatically accrue to you as your assets are being utilized in the game. So it's a freemium model, but we're not restricting play only with asset owners. I mean, you have the option of not owning anything and still being able to play and earn.
Cool. So that's a really low barrier to entry also.
Absolutely zero barrier. As long as you have a browser, you can play.
For sure.
And internet.
And currently, I believe a lot of the gameplay that you guys are designing for even the alpha and the beta tests that are going on, these are card-based games?
So there are card-based games and there are Unity games as well, which are like Akshay said earlier, we've acquired a gaming studio who are building a Unity-based game, which is again a very casual gameplay, but it's based on the physics of cricket, basically. And then there are
cricket games do have a solid market. I remember, back in the days, Cricket 95, Cricket 97. These were very interesting games, and they made a serious dent in the market. A lot of people used to play this.
Oh, even now you have mobile-based games which are these Unity games or Unreal games which are doing very well in the market, but they're all Web 2 and don't have the real Web 3 economy and all those supporting it. But yeah, very popular games, millions of downloads. So yeah, we have both hyper casual card based strategy based games, whereas on the other side Unity based timing and flick and hitting sixes and fours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what also my next question is. What does a metaverse existence for you guys look like, since you are a native Web3 company? Moving ahead, like next 10, 20 years, if you guys are still around, what would your rendition in the metaverse look like? Cricket is a game on the metaverse could definitely be, quite big. I mean, the way people use lightsabers and everything, I can easily see doing straight drives on that Oculus thing that I have. So how far away are we from that?
See, I think metaverse as a concept, it's an interesting one and evolving one, right? Like, I think there are a few different interpretations of metaverse that are going around, but if we have to imagine a future, with us, then definitely an immersive experience where the decision making is real time. What I mean by that is, you could be sitting in your living room and looking at a gameplay that is being played live. And you as a user are calling the shots. So the community, let's say there are 1 million people who are watching a game which is played between, let's say, India and Pakistan live, are calling the shots that who should throw the next over. You vote real time, and the captain of Indian cricket team actually throws the ball to the bowler that the community has decided. Right, each and every move of that game is basically completely decentralized and played by the decided by the community.
That's quite interesting. Yeah.
Right, and not just that, but in terms of how you are consuming that, is more and more immersive as well, right? Like this is already happening, as you're saying, right? You can see those the square drives and cover drives and hook shots, pull shots being played, but that's the experience that is being delivered to you. So you are the coach sitting in the dugout calling the shots, and you can view the game as such, right? And that could be just one application, but then there are there's so many interesting discussions that we will keep having on the possibilities that could be there.
With the data points that you guys are generating with your games itself, you could be feeding an AI that's running the show in the first place. Yeah.
Correct.
So yeah,
another aspect of sorry.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. This is there's a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, another aspect of metaverse is actually owning the real life assets, and we do have those assets in card format right now. But going forward, we might have stadiums built in, and football, cricket clubs, and you own those real life assets on the metaverse, and enable training for players, and improve their skills and bring them up into the tournaments, or bring them up in IPL, for example. You could have an IPL running all year round, and they're the fans who are watching it from any vantage point that they want. So, for example, I mean, you want to see a Virat Kohli's cover drive, you might be standing on the covers yourself, and watching it.
That's exactly what I've been waiting for. Maybe watching soccer games from any point in the stadium, or watching a cricket match, or a pole vault, or something like that. That's quite crazy to think about.
Yeah, imagine you're running with the football players.
Yeah, that's another level of immersiveness.
Hopefully with your clothes on, Rahul. Knowing the kind of fan you are.
I mean, streaking in the metaverse is not that big of a
on the
problem.
metaverse.
So there's a sort of a technical question I see this in the chat. I know you guys are using a lot of developers right now. What is the profile of a games developer that you guys are looking for? What is like an industry standard right now? What should guys be looking to upskill themselves to?
Yeah, this is a good one. So I mean, would love to have the capabilities, but right now they are divided into, let's say, 3 different domains. So you got to be, of course, a Unity or Unreal developer to create the gameplay. You should have the know-how of blockchain. So yeah, I mean, either Solidity or Rust, whichever language it's been built on, or whichever protocol it's been built on, in order to integrate it with the with the reward mechanism and so on. And ideally, yeah, I would say a bit of sense on the economy side as well. Right, because right now the way it happens is you have a game producer, and you have this game economist, and then you have the blockchain dev, and then you have the Unity dev, right? So if only you can combine the 2 skill sets, I think that's definitely already a very, very good start. So a Unity dev with the know-how blockchain, I think that's great. But if you can combine the because the game producer is a very different kind of like a that goes more in the artsy direction, right?
For sure.
Like, yeah, the storytelling and this and
game design and everything. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's a different skill set altogether. But the economists and the rewards, once it's kind of like there, then implementation of that. I mean, if someone comes from a strong quant background, then that's, of course, very, very, very useful one to have as well.
And Rahul, since you have an engineering and a gaming background, would you say gamers make better game developers?
Oh, I'd like to believe so, because I think when you're trying to build something, like I said earlier, it's part science and part art, and the way you get, I think, immersed in art is by by immersing yourself. So if you don't understand what a gamer thinks, how a gamer thinks, then it's very hard to build those nuances into the game. And I do believe they have to be really, I mean, they don't need to be avid gamers, like 8 hours a day kind of, but they do definitely need to understand how the gamers think and how games are played. So some experience.
And I guess for your game developers, they need to understand how wallet works and how they can be integrated better into game design and in-game purchases, and that's the layer that you're looking, I guess, to fill with these guys.
Yes, absolutely. I think, and I do believe, like, in product development, product management, it's important to have an all-round, I mean, a quite a mix of these experiences, life experiences, I like to say. So if you have that, if you understand a few things and not just single track mind, I think you can create beautiful products and games.
For sure. Thanks a lot, guys. This has been quite an enlightening hour that we've had. Thanks, Akshay. Thanks, Rahul.
Thanks for having us over, Rohan. Very interesting session, and thanks everyone for listening to us as well. As I was saying, I mean, we are still in the building mode, and you know, if you would like to, you know, get the first glimpse of the gameplay and share the feedback, or even, you know, contribute in any other capacity, please ping us over. We'll direct you to, you know, the respective channel, either on Discord, Telegram, or, you know, separately. And very happy to, you know, take it from there. But thanks for your time. Thanks for spending the Sunday, well, evening, night with us. So thank you.
Thank you, Rohan. Thanks for having us. It was
and I believe any beta testing links or alpha testing links that you have, if you can share with us, we'll mail it out to everyone who registered for this particular podcast. Absolutely. I think that'll be a good place to start here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, guys. Hope to run into you in one of these places. Yeah.
Have a great rest of the night. Thank you. Bye-bye.